Hello guys, in this video I will show you how I've built or partially generated with AI this hotel booking website, including filament admin panel, which looks like this. And that was done with the help of Cursor IDE, new generation AI code editor. So for a month or so during Christmas break, I left my PHP Storm, which I used for a decade, and tried to create a Laravel project with Cursor, which resulted in this new course on Laravel Daily, Laravel project in 22 AI prompts. And here on YouTube, I will publish first 3 lessons, one longer today and 2 more in upcoming days. The course itself is a video course, which is different from what I've been doing in 2024, but in this case I wanted to demonstrate to you that IDE and its features. If you want that full course, the link will be in the description below. And discount alert, for the upcoming 3 days while I'm publishing these YouTube videos, I'm launching a campaign called Resolution 25. Giving discounts as incentive for you to maybe fulfill your New Year's resolution by leveling up your coding skills with Laravel Daily. So, for the next 3 days, the discount code Resolution25 will give you 40% off yearly or lifetime membership at Laravel Daily. Now, the philosophy of using Cursor IDE is in the thumbnail to that course, which is 22 prompts. So you probably have seen that demonstrations on YouTube and on Twitter, like one prompt that generates the full project. And I'm really against that approach. Yes, AI can generate some full project in a way, but then if you get all that code in one prompt, in one result, you are totally not in control of what it generated, how to debug it, and how to maintain it. Basically, it's not your code that you would be able to maintain in the future. So that's why my philosophy is dividing the features, prompting step by step, and this is exactly what I will demonstrate in this course and in upcoming videos on YouTube. So you will see my approach, where Cursor can help us to generate some code or refactor some code, but sometimes it also gets in the way where it generates something incorrect and we need to spend time debugging. So all of that, good and bad parts. So this course is kind of like a journey with me while trying to use Cursor AI editor. And now let's dive into the first video, where I combined first 2 lessons, introducing the course, introducing the project, and trying to generate the database structure with models, migrations, factories, and seeders for 2 database tables. Coding with AI assistants is not a new thing. It's growing more and more, but typically what developers do is ask ChatGPT to generate or review something, or ask Claude to generate or review something, but this is so 2023, because then you have to manually copy-paste the code into your editor. Now we have those editors integrated with AI models. And the most popular AI editor is Cursor. So you can add a human language prompt and it would generate the code that you need to just review and accept or reject. And I've seen Cursor mentioned a lot online, but I haven't seen many attempts to use that with Laravel specifically. So I spent roughly a month with experimenting with various small or big projects, and in this course I will show you step by step creating a project of hotel booking system. Here's a quick demo what we'll have by the end of this course. Homepage with search form and footer. You can search for rooms with parameters. The search from the database happens. Then you see the list of available room types with pricing, amenities, and more information about rooms, all coming from the database. Then you click Book Now. You see another form with filling in your full name and email address. In this course, we'll not tackle payments because that would be a separate, very long course. So you double check your details, fill in your name and email, and complete booking. And then on the back end, we'll have filament admin panel to manage rooms, room types, then see bookings and customers, and also manage some text on the homepage like hotel name, social media links, email, phone, and address, which are visible in the footer. So most of that project will be generated by AI, including backend things like past automated test, database structure, validation rules, and much more. And I will manually type some code, not a lot, only when I need to, when I feel that I will write a few lines of code faster than asking AI, or when I need to run some terminal command, which is quicker than asking AI, or when I need to debug something that AI generated incorrectly. That does happen. So this video course is kind of like a journey of me trying to use Cursor and then showing you the good, the bad, and the ugly parts. As usual in my courses and videos, I'm trying to be unbiased reviewer like a journalist, not really praising the tool blindly. So the overall question is this: can Cursor replace our IDE, popular IDEs like PHP Storm or VS Code? How much time it can realistically save us versus those IDEs? But while playing around with Cursor, I realized it's not a direct comparison, Cursor versus like PHP Storm, for example. Using Cursor as AI assistant is a different feeling. That's why I decided it to be a video course, because you need to see it for yourself. In my opinion, Cursor is the beginning of a new kind of era where developers switch the thinking about how we write code. I know it sounds like a bold statement, but again, you need to see it for yourself. In this course, there will be various attempts to use AI, some side notes, because along the way we'll have a lot of surprises, unexpected results from AI, and how we will handle that. And along the way, I will show you more and more features of Cursor Editor. Finally, for this intro, 2 disclaimers. First disclaimer, I'm shooting that in January 2025. And I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video after like 6 months or later, a lot of things will change. AI is growing rapidly with new models, new editors, new tools, and even Cursor may have changed even while I'm shooting this course. It's really fast world of AI these days. So whatever I say in this course may be obsolete by 2026. And also another disclaimer, I'm not expert at Cursor. I've been experimenting with it for a month or so, but you may find other people using it in different way. Maybe I missed something in Cursor features. We can always discuss that in the comments, and I may shoot follow-up videos here or on YouTube. And now let's dive into the first lesson, and I will show you how Cursor can generate database structure for you. The first lesson is pretty long and typically long for my courses because I want to explain not just the how, but the why part. It's not just about writing the prompt, it's about what you do after you get the results. With that intro out of the way, see you guys inside the course. In this first lesson, we have a goal to create 2 database tables, room types and rooms, and then fill it with fake or realistic data like this. So by the end of this video, we'll have room types with seeded data with pricing and amenities, and also database table rooms with room numbers in sequence like in a typical hotel. So let's begin. So we start with a new Laravel project, Laravel new, and I do that in terminal outside of Cursor. So let's do Laravel new. The wizard will ask us questions, no starter kit, past, yes I would like Git repository. Then we will also choose the database. I will choose local MySQL, this is my personal preference. So MySQL, run default migrations, yes for the users table. Database doesn't exist, create it, yes. Great. So this is the default Laravel installation, done and finished. And then we open that folder in Cursor. So we open Cursor as editor, open a folder, and then our project files are on the left. And with this, I want to kind of emphasize 2 things. First, I look at Cursor as an assistant, not as coder leader. So on YouTube, you may see a lot of videos. I generated the whole project with Cursor by just prompting it. No, that's not the way I would do that, because I want to be in control as developer and ask Cursor to generate or fix something when I need that, when I thought about it and know how it should work. I just need the implementation. So that's the first thought. And then the second thought, quite often there will be a question of whether to generate something in the terminal or in Cursor, ask the Cursor to, for example, install Laravel. I could ask that as well. And in most cases, if it's simple command that you know how to run, it's better to run it in terminal because first, it's faster. Second, it would use the parameters and versions of the packages, the ones that you need, the latest ones usually. Cursor is not guaranteed to do that. And also you don't use your credits in Cursor to call the LLM from the cloud. You have limited amount of such questions or requests. And also it's faster in local terminal. So this is what I did. So this is kind of intro. Now we will ask Cursor to prepare the structure for us for room types and rooms. And for that, I will use a function in Cursor called composer. With command I call composer here. There are a few ways to interact with AI assistants in Cursor, but if you want to generate something significant like a few files or a full feature, composer is the way to go, where you just prompt in human language what you need. And this will be our prompt. You're creating a hotel management system in Laravel for a single hotel, so it's not multi-tenancy. Create the database files for room and room type models. And then I give a list what to generate: models, migrations, factories, and seeds. And this is the main thing. You need to prompt in a bit more detailed way than just give me the files. Some parts of the prompt are based on the knowledge that you know it would generate otherwise differently. For example, most LLMs use this faker by default in factories, ChatGPT and Claude. I did it many times, so I specifically asked to use fake helper. Now let's submit and see what it generates. It's running, starting to generate files one by one, line by line, and you will see the list of all files and see appearing the files both on the left with the code in the middle with accept or reject. Let's wait for it to stop with all the files, and then I will comment what we will do next. So this is factory, room factory. I asked for models, migrations, factories, and seeders. And let's see what we have here. And here's the list of the files already, still generating. So it takes like, 30 seconds or so while I'm still talking. And all those files are automatically opened in the editor, so you may take a look at them. So for example, we can already take a look at room type model. And yeah, it is finished. Generated 9 files and how to review all those files. And this is the thing that you need to realize while working with Cursor. In a way, you're becoming a code reviewer more than code writer. So let's scroll up and see what it did for us from the very beginning. Of course, it adds the instructions and comments everything. And let's see, room type model, for example. Let's expand it, and this is also room model. And here you review file by file, and then you have a choice. For each file, there's an icon called accept, or you may reject those changes, then those would be rolled back. And this is your personal preference. In my experience, I usually either do accept all and then edit the files manually afterwards, of course, after reviewing all of that, or you may reprompt, add more context to ask it right away to change something. And this is exactly what we will do in a minute. But I will comment on some choices because we didn't specify, for example, that there should be status for the room, or for example, that room type should have amenities with JSON. So a few things LLM decided for us, although we didn't specify it. And some things we will change. Then there's room type factory with random element from this list of room types. Then amenities are generated, and this is one of the best things of using Cursor. It generates realistic data based on your prompt, like amenities of the hotel or room types like this. For me personally, it would take quite a lot of time to come up with those. Then there's room factory, and then the seeder with room type seeder. But in this case, it doesn't use the factories. It uses realistic data with standard room, deluxe, and amenities from those list. And for room seeder, it uses factory, all room types, and then each create 15 rooms per room type. Then it updates database seeder, and this is important. Look at this diff. It doesn't just add new seeders to this call, but also it removed the default seeders from Laravel. So when you click accept on that file or accept all, it would save its version of the file, which would delete user factory create. Do you want that or not? That's your personal preference. But generally, if you use Cursor Composer, especially for bigger chunks or bigger files, watch out for something being deleted, especially if you already have a bigger code base. It may totally think that something is irrelevant. And yeah, it adds the instructions how to use those commands and some comments below. By the way, what happened under the hood here is calling LLM from the cloud. In this case, it's Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is at the moment the default model. And then you use one request of your quota for your Cursor plan. So this is my personal dashboard of cursor.com, and I've used 38 of such requests out of 250 so-called fast requests to Claude, basically. This is $250 per month, and I'm currently still on free trial, but I will totally upgrade to Pro, which will give me another $250 per month. When you run out of those $250, by default it will switch you to GPT-4o Mini or Cursor Small. I still haven't got there, so I cannot comment on those model quality. For now, we'll continue with Claude. So now what we'll do after review these changes. In this case, I will not click accept all. I will ask for some changes. So two things specifically I didn't like in the room factory status of available, occupied, or maintenance. In my project, I want it more simple. Is the room available at the moment or not, like a Boolean field? So I add that in a prompt. I will paste it from my notes. So prompt from two changes I want to request. Let me move it here so you will see. So change column status to Boolean, default true, and then in Cedar, I specify that 90% of the rooms should be available. And then another thing, the second part of the prompt, I want the rooms to be in sequence. If we go room factory, it would generate fake room numbers in whatever order, so the floor wouldn't correspond to the room number. And I want it to be like in real hotel. Floor 1, then rooms 101, 102, and so on. So this is my second prompt. Use a proper logical sequence instead of fake data. Actually, I will add here assign room type to each room randomly. Let's submit and let's see what it does. 3 seconds, and then it starts regenerating the code, which again will accept or not. So some changes. As you can see already, there's 101 somewhere. And then room Cedar is different. Now it's for loop instead of just factory. So the changes include, this is the last set of comments. And let's see, I will put it back and again, this is the workflow. You scroll up and you review the changes. So instead of status, you see is available, then cast to Boolean, then change the migration. And we haven't run those migrations yet. That's why I'm asking it to regenerate it right away before we run migrations. Then in the factory, we have 101 and fake Boolean with 90% of possibility. And then room Cedar is totally different. Instead of factory, we have for each floor, for each room number, we generate room number with 101, 102, and others. And room type is randomly assigned as I asked. That's basically it. And now let's click accept all and try to run those migrations and seeders. Accept all. Let's close the composer for now. And now our changes are saved and accepted. Let's try to run the migrations. I open the terminal inside of Cursor and go phpartisan migrate --seed. Will it work from the first time? Let's see. We hit enter and yeah, no errors. And let's take a look at the database, our hotel database, in addition to users, which is empty because remember it deleted the first user from the Cedar, but now we have room types with those name, description, price, capacity, and amenities, and rooms with 90% roughly available with room number, floor corresponding to room number, room type randomly assigned, and notes for some of those rooms. So yeah, we're good. There's just one more thing I want to fix. See migration timestamps. Those are from March 20th, 2024. And this is what Cursor, or in fact Claude, generates as current timestamp. This is the last update, kind of setoff I think it is called, for the whole LLM. So it thinks that today is March 20th. And when I specifically asked to generate migrations with current timestamp, current date prefix, it still did that with March 20th. So if we want Cursor Composer to use current date, at this point I didn't find any other way than to specify that date specifically. So we open Composer again and ask it. And this is my prompt. I noticed migrations are with prefix such and such. As you can see, I'm typing in mostly human language. I don't really think about formulating it that much. Please change it to the current date, which is the date I'm shooting this video on. I submit, and I want to show you one thing with Composer. So it will probably regenerate those migrations, or in fact, it will not regenerate it. It will just rename the files and not do that for us. It will suggest renaming commands in the terminal. So as you can see, MV, and then on the right side, you can see a button called Run. So immediately from here, it can execute terminal commands, or in fact, call the terminal commands to be executed down below. So if we click Run, see what happens here in the terminal. It has renamed the migrations. We don't need to reseed and rerun them because it's just about the prefix of the files. So next time when I ask it to generate migrations, I will specifically in the prompt need to provide that you need to use current date, and I need to provide that date. At least I haven't found a better way. So I wanted to show you that you can also click Run, not just accept all, but part of the instructions generated by Cursor Composer. It may include artisan commands or terminal commands that can be executed right away without any copy pasting. So yeah, this is the result of this first lesson, and the main takeaway what I want to emphasize. Not sure if you noticed, but I haven't typed any line of code. Not a single symbol. I haven't touched the editor at all. I was just prompting it, reviewing it, and reprompting for changes. And in the beginning of this video, I told otherwise, that I see Cursor as assistant, but for this well-structured and well-known and well-defined task as generate basically CRUD structure, I don't want to type it manually. It's quite boring. And if we try to compare the time, in prompting, it took me like, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. But of course, I took the time to think about the prompts beforehand and review the code. So, okay, we can count it as 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. But if I had done it manually, I would spend quite a lot of time on correct syntax of the factories, coming up with fake names of the hotel room types or room amenities and stuff like that, or remembering how to define 90% is available or not. And also, Cursor is suggesting some fields that I didn't think about, even that is available room. I would probably skip it if I did that manually. So from the generated code, you can get even some ideas for your project. You may accept or reject them. And this is exactly what we'll do in one of the future lessons. I changed my mind on some structure and we will regenerate some relationship in the later video. But all in all, for this specific task, Cursor is not just faster. What I discovered is when working with Cursor, I focus my time not on typing the code, but on thinking how that code should be structured. And this is exactly, in my opinion, what developers should be paid for thinking, structuring, and making decisions. Typing of the code can be done by someone else, like AI assistant. So yeah, enough of this first lesson. In the second lesson, in the next lesson, we will take filament as admin panel and make admin panel for those two database tables, rooms and room types. And let's see how Cursor handles filament.